The third week in May, here we are. I'm Kate Miller for Sweet Sela's Tuesday Talks, and we are talking about the fruit that we bear when we're rooted in Christ. And we talked about Psalm 1, the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of scoffer, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. And because he meditates in it day and night, he becomes like a tree planted by the river of water and bearing fruit. I'd like to introduce my son, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to talk about what fruit do you see in your life that you've borne because of God, because of walking with Jesus. Your wife, Danny, the week before, spoke beautifully about how she has seen God working inside her heart. We didn't even get to the outward fruit. That could be a whole nother hour or two. But I want to ask you the fruit in your life. And I guess I'll start with, I know I'm your mom, but when you really attached yourself to God, how was that?
Like
Or how long have you
mind-blowing?
been?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
Okay.
Lifestyle changing.
Mm.
Uprooted my existing life and kind of found a solid foundation in a new life.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that whole idea of being grafted into a new family. That was like mid-20s, so over 15 years, I'd say,
Yeah.
of like a real relationship with Jesus.
Right, because before that it was kind of, you had said cultural.
Mm-hmm.
and it is because we raised you. I mean, John and I were believers and have been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember saying to you, and I don't know if you remember, you guys, to Peter and my two daughters, you have to put on Jesus Christ for yourselves. You have to just picture a cloak, and then he indwells you. It's got to be on you, not handed down. And well, I'm giving you my faith, and then you go on, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be in heaven forever. No. So we're talking about that daily walk with Christ, what it means to be rooted in him, and then from that root, what is growing out of that?
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen in your life, the fruit?
I think like the example that immediately pops in my head is for years I was a Young Life Leader, which is a ministry to high school kids, and there was a high school kid right when I got involved, and we each shared a passion for the ocean and surfing, and I took him out a couple times surfing. I didn't know the impact that had on his life. I didn't know where he was at spiritually in his life. He came from a Christian family. We had gotten close, had some like really deep talks. He was like kind of exploring the idea of God, but also kind of maybe exploring other areas of what the meaning of life was. And so we had this like really cool friendship where we talked about deep things. And then years go by. He moves out to California. He's gone, and then he comes back because his family's in the town that we're in now. And he reaches out, and he's like, "Hey, I'd love to meet up, get a coffee, and kind of tell you about my life, because it's a pretty wild story."
Mm-hmm.
So we meet. He tells me how he met Jesus, how his whole life flipped upside down, kind of what I was saying earlier about my own life. And I remember praying for him for years, and this is like over the course of 5 years, he has come into a really beautiful relationship with Jesus. And so I say that just from this idea of like, as followers of Jesus, we're called to plant seeds, and sometimes you never see that seed sprouting. A person could move away and you never hear from them again. I think God showed me that this seed that was planted was powerful and was meant to grow, and so I got to see kind of the flip of that, of the life change, and so that would be more of like an outward kind of result of my faith and being faithful to sharing Jesus with him in a way that was unique to that relationship. It wasn't forcing, it was just more listening and then saying my perspective and how I've seen God in my life.
I love what you said though, Peter. Listening. It's really important, and sometimes I think we forget because we're so excited, or we want to change their life. Like right now, it should really change. Can't you see that it should change? But listening, and then you did something, and I was going to ask you, but you already said it. You prayed for him. it's having that relationship, doing what he liked to do, but you could do it too. Surfing. Not everybody can surf, Peter. I'm telling you, not everybody can surf.
You can try.
But you prayed for him. You stuck with it. Maybe not physically, you weren't there because he moved out to California, but you kept up that prayer. And meanwhile, while you're keeping up the prayer, you're diving into this book. You're meditating, and meditating not in meditating, memorizing, trying to figure out, okay, what does it mean to be rooted in Christ? Do I really have fruit to share, to show? And I love, again, what Danny said about how she's seeing, God is witnessing to Danny in her own life saying, I have hope. Not that she didn't have hope before, but there's a patience that he's developing in her. Do you see that happening inwardly in your life?
Patience.
Or just the residual, do you believe in God's steadfast love? He says he has steadfast love for us.
I think in parenthood, you see different aspects of well, I'm stuck on the word patience. And as I try to be patient with my little girl, I'm realizing just how much patience God has with me. So I see through his lens about just how much he loves me, but also how much, man, I must have driven him crazy. I must still continually drive him crazy, but he is so patient and so kind and ready to forgive and ready to give grace and ready to give mercy and all that. And then my action from that is coming to him with a repentant heart.
That's a repentant heart. That's important. I just think about the time when you were baptized. I think you were 8. I remember the river, being in the river. You were 8, you said, but it wasn't until you were 15 or even later than that when you really grabbed hold of what does it mean to not have a religion in Christianity, but a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, how important is that to you now?
I feel like it's in our nature to just follow rules, or it's in our nature to break rules. And I think when there is a relationship component to that, it's less about following the rules and more about living that relationship out. And so the rules are there, but it's the relationship that is so much more meaningful. And that's where love is cultivated. It's hard for love to be cultivated when it's a set of rules.
That's right. I was thinking when you were talking, and I cannot remember the reference, but I saw it just before we talked. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Every anxious thought because he cares for you. I kind of just, when you were talking, I don't want to disappoint God with my worry. I'm worrying about so many things, and this journey that I'm on, I'm worrying. And then as I was sharing, I think I was sharing in the first week, but maybe the second week with Danny, all of a sudden, did Jesus worry about what was going to happen to him? And he saw it through, and the glory of God was revealed. We just celebrated it in Easter, but my gosh, he died and rose again so we could live and live victoriously in this life, and then who knows what's going to happen in the next life. Gosh, any closing thoughts?
Thank you for listening.
Oh, I'm so glad that you could meet Peter. This has been a great time. Thanks, and we'll see you next week with not only the one and only John Miller. Oh, make sure that you comment and like us on Facebook or YouTube. I'd love to hear your comments.